Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I am taking you along with me as I clean out my freezers. So this video is just going to be a compilation of a bunch of different meals as I go through my freezers, trying to make room for the pig and the beef that we are getting later on in the year. So I'm not trying to deplete the meat in my freezers, but I do have a bunch of stuff in there. I've got like leftovers that I've saved. I have like just a bunch of like odds and ends, you know, like the typical frozen bananas and just like odds and ends of fruit and like buns and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to get that stuff out of there. So I'm just going to be kind of scraping together some meals, and I thought you might like to come along with me and see how I do that. So that's what we're gonna do, but first I'm gonna go show you what my freezers look like right now so you can get an idea of what I'm working with. This is my extra refrigerator freezer down in the basement. This one's not looking too bad. So I've got some shredded zucchini I need to get through. This is all kale from the garden. It's more kale. Lunch meat that would be handy to go through. I have riced cauliflower, some broccoli we're still going strong on. These are like flax seeds and hemp hearts. Oh, this is French onion soup that I didn't have enough to can. More garden tomatoes. Bunch of, these are sour cherries that I make cherry pies out of. We've got some tortillas. So this one's looking pretty good. I could fit a lot of meat in here, but I do want to get through this zucchini, so I'll probably be making some zucchini bread at some point. This is our little chest freezer. And it's not doing too bad. It's mostly meat in here, so all that is meat. I would like to get through these. I saved the greens broth, so that would make some good soup. These are cinnamon rolls, which we will eat this month. And more tortillas. Bread, so like I have leftover chili. That would make good lunch. And then the rest of it down here, that's all meat, aside from frozen blueberries. So really need to make some room, but this one's pretty stocked with meat. First meal we are making to try to clean out the freezer is zuppa toscana. So I had one Italian sausage left. I get this in a 2-pack from Sam's. I have this half a bag of frozen kale. I have these two, just like, this one's a bigger one, but 2 things of chicken broth. Whenever I cook my chicken, like in the Instapot, I strain it and save the broth because it's very flavorful broth. So that'll free up some space in my freezer. Then I have this bowl of like little potatoes that didn't do so great in the garden, but and some of them are green from not being buried deep enough. This was like volunteer potatoes that just popped up. So I will probably, I think I am going to painstakingly peel all these because they even have like some scab on them and stuff. But there's still good potatoes in here. So I'll just peel away all the bad parts, use that in it. I already have onion, and basically the only other ingredient are some seasonings and some half and half or heavy whipping cream, which I have in the refrigerator. I am also going to be making a loaf of sourdough to go along with the soup. So I keep a dry sourdough starter. I started this last night, and it has, as you can see, doubled in size and is nice and bubbly. So I will be starting that here very soon. Next up is going to be a breakfast ham, egg, cheese, broccoli casserole. I make this quite often. I really enjoy it. Julia and Jason will eat it as well. But the cauliflower kind of serves as like a hash brown substitute. And then I just use the microwavable bags of both the cauliflower rice and the broccoli florets. And I just put it in the microwave enough to like take the chill off and get it to break apart. And then the entire thing bakes in the oven. This makes probably about 8 servings, I would say. And when I make this, I am a much better breakfast eater. So this is one that I enjoy making quite often. Now the next recipe I would normally make with ground pork, but ground turkey is what I had in the freezer, and as you know, the goal is to clean out the freezer, so we're going to use ground turkey this time. And also I had these little baby heads of cabbage grow off of the main stalk of the cabbages that I'd already harvested, I don't know, three weeks ago probably. So I pulled all those off, just took some of the outer leaves off, and they were like 4 little heads of cabbage that had quite a bit to them. So I had heard that that could happen, but I didn't think that I would be lucky enough that it would happen to me. So I happily use those for this recipe. And then also taking out that package of tortillas, and I happened to remember that I had frozen shredded carrots, so I used those because the recipe calls for coleslaw mix, which is just cabbage and carrots basically. Here's all the seasonings that we put in it. We have ginger and onion and garlic, lime juice, a little bit of oil, some honey, soy sauce, and then coriander is really what gives it the really good flavor, so I wouldn't skip out on that. But it's as simple as mixing all the sauce together, browning everything up, and then just letting it simmer till the cabbage is done. This half a can of homemade barbecue sauce, and I did can this up last year, but when you open it, there's no preservatives in it, and so whenever I open it, if we're not going to use it within a couple days, I will just stick it in the freezer. And this was the perfect use for this. That's cubed up pork from last month, a meal that we actually didn't get to, so I just changed it this month, and I thawed out that barbecue sauce, and we're just going to slow cook this I think for like 8 hours, and then I did end up pressure cooking it at the end because it wasn't quite as tender as I would like it, and we were ready to eat for dinner. So I will do that quite often. If meat is not tender enough, I will just then pressure cook it for 10 minutes and then it's perfect. Gathering the ingredients for like a southern style green bean, and you're about to see the saddest thing happen. So I had this bag of green beans in here for a while because we've been eating out of the garden, and so I just really wanted to get it used up. That's a little bit of chicken broth I had left from, can't remember what meal, but I always save it in the refrigerator, and so everything's looking good. I wish I could tell myself to go back and turn that down because look what happened. I got busy with something and boy, those beans were completely ruined. So we just popped open a can of green beans and had it with the barbecue, and it was fine. Next up is pumpkin bars, and I have all these little cubes of pumpkin and a container of pumpkin, and I love pumpkin bars with cream cheese frosting. They're just delicious. So here is the finished cake, and then I will put cream cheese frosting on it. Everyone loves them. Great way to use up pumpkin. Last but not least is the thing I'm calling freezer clean out soup. So I'm basically going through my freezer, and anything that I think will go together to make a soup, I am pulling out. So I had that French onion soup that there wasn't enough to can, so I pulled that out. I'm just looking for different veggies. I decided I had this ham chunk that there was a lot of fat in it, but I thought it would flavor soup really well, so I had saved that. So I kind of ended up deciding on like a Cajun or Creole type soup. I have those greens broth that I wanted to get used up. So I just did some green pepper. I originally had thought I would put a whole onion in it, but then I had that French onion soup. So I just brown everything up together, dump in the broths, season it up, and this was really good. We all really enjoyed this one. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this freezer clean out video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye!